Hey, what is up, everybody? Blades for here, and today I for you guys another video of Persona 5X. And as you guys can see by the title, this was also a little bit important, and I'm going to be debunking a lot of these questions when it comes down to: do you think the game's going to come to global or not, or do you think it's going to be a failure? We're debunking a lot of those immediately, right here, right now. Now, the reason why I made this video is because I did recently have, of course, a conversation with a person on one of the videos, which they might comment down below as well, which, hey, thank you for giving me a little bit of the idea as well. But I digress on that side of things. We had a little bit of a conversation, and it kind of did spark this little idea of, will the game do, like, will it come to global? Will it not come to global? For the people who don't want to watch the whole video, I'm going to just lay out the facts right now. I have four things that I'm going to be discussing immediately to you. The game's going to come to global. The reasons why it's going to come to global is because it's not doing bad in revenue. There's plenty of things that they're going to be expanding on with a story, units, and things of that nature. They've already started hiring, and it's Atlus. They don't really abandon a lot of their things. They try to get as much money out of it as possible, and this game has a ton of money, at least potential, to get out that said money. So without further ado, there's your four things. You can click off the video. Cool. But for my peeps who actually appreciate my content and stick around, not only do I love you guys and love that you support me, but you're willing to sit here and hear me out. So I do have some bullet points. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So one of the first things that we're going to be talking about today is the revenue side of things. On the video that I was talking to this individual on, they were pretty much stating that the revenue did take a major dip, that it looked kind of uneasy, that it might not come out to global. This was something that left a major, I wouldn't say sting, but left a major distaste in my mouth, mainly just because you see a huge drop in cash, and most people would think, oh, that game just is doing terrible, right? Not the case, especially in this case. So if we go ahead and just open up my browser, which it's gonna not even fully cover things. I was doing other things at the same time, so you guys are gonna see kind of like a sloppy placement. You know what? Hold on. Let me make this a little bit better on us real quick. Let's move this on over. Boom. There we go. And just stretch that on out. Boom. So now that we have this placed, when it comes down to revenue, a lot of people are a little bit skeptical that the game will do well. And heck, I don't blame them. It's a major revenue drop, but we also have to take into the facts. So we see games like Hoyoverse with these crazy numbers. So you have no, like, there's always going to be that point where you compare it to a different game and you compare it to the money, right? This is not one of those cases that you should compare it, and it's not one of those cases where we can compare it to the first month compared to the next month. So if we go ahead and take a look at Phantom X, we can see April 24th, we got 11 million. May 24th, we got 2.8 million. Now, let's break this down even further, you guys. Immediately debunking the fact revenue is not a problem here. Reason I state this is because they're doing fairly good on revenue. And for those who don't believe me, just for those who don't believe me, a good example of this, a really good game that I currently still do play to this day, is in its anniversary, and it does crazy good. And the actual company is actually not that bad, because if you guys have seen a lot of ads, they also run Solo Leveling Arise, which made $41 million. But I digress. With this in mind, we have a game called Seven Deadly Sins that's from Netmarble. They have an absolute track record of staying 2.5 million, 1.4 million, 2.5 million, 1.4 million, and 2.4 million. This is a common practice for gachas, especially if they've been on for a long-standing time. And heck, it's a common practice in general for gachas that are just getting kind of kicked up to get this amount of revenue. We had our first month being 11 mil. This one's 2.8 mil. Now, the reason that we had 11 mil the first month, you got to take into factors. Joker came out. Yui came out. It was the beginning of the actual game. Everyone wanted a piece of this game. So it makes sense for the game to pop off in money value. That was the first month. Now, then we have May. What came out in May? Well, let's take a think. Let's just think here. The only thing that came out in May is Minami. Minami. That's it, right? The ending of Yui to Minami. If we take that into account, there wasn't much in between that time to make people want to spend. but they still made 2.7 million, which is really, really good. This allows them to go ahead and continue making the game. This is not something you guys should be afraid of. Now, where you should be afraid of this, because KR and TW are together pretty much. This is technically a sum of both of these, right? Or at least China, sorry. China and TW. KR is its own thing here, which they're also making pretty decent money. Not too much of a drop either. But where you should be scared is if the main primary one, CN, went from 11 mil to like 800K. That's where you would be afraid, because that's really underperforming. But this isn't the case. They're doing really, really, really well. And it's probably going to be this type of slope, or at least this type of degree, pretty decently. Because now we have Makoto coming, we have Yusuke coming, and this is going to make that immediately good. So revenue wise, they're doing really good. Let's X that out. Debunked. Next bullet point: units. When it comes to the unit side of the degree here, right? Some people are like, well, maybe the game's not going to do that good because of units, right? And there's two sides of this coin. Unit wise, you have the side of us who are very open to units, or new units in general, and you have the side of us who aren't very open to them. So, for example, if you see, I don't know, we see On versus we see a new character like Yui or freaking Rin, right? We're gonna go with what we're more familiar with. She's the On is more of the the Phantom Thief we knew. This is the Phantom Thief that we knew. We've seen this over and over again, and we've gotten accustomed to this character rather than going for a different 5-star who we know nothing about. We are kind of intrigued into the story, but why go with something that we don't know compared to something that we do know? So people think it's just going to do bad because no one's interested into the new characters. To some extent, that could be a case. But to some extent, that's not going to be a case because they're actually trying really hard to give you these in-depth stories, these in-depth side stories that make these characters more interesting. We literally have an event that's coming out, next update for CN or next update now for TW, that is just going to be all about Riddle and pretty much Rin with this here. If we take that into account and how they're in-depth doing this, this is not going to take the game into a bad direction. And before people say they're going to run out of units, trust me, we've seen some leaks. They're not going to run out of units. They have many plans in the future. There's going to even be seasonal events with most likely seasonal characters. So units is not going to be the problem in this game. It's just going to be open-mindedness to newer characters. I believe this will not make the game fail. If anything, it will make it better. But who am I to know? I am just a regular old small content creator who's out there yapping half the time. But I digress. So that's another thing debunked immediately. Now, the third bullet point is hiring, or at least people stating, well, we don't have anything for global. They haven't talked about global too much. One, they have talked about global. All right, if we go ahead and open up my channel and we actually go ahead and go to one of my videos, one of them were for the global side of things, in which I need to make sure myself is muted because I utterly can't stand hearing my voice sometimes. But if we go ahead and go down, one of them was about Sega talking about global, in which a lot of you guys enjoyed watching that video because it was finally something. It was big news. It went 3K. This is something that you guys must know. They're already talking about global. They already have some mist of planning for global. And to make you guys feel even better, the man Loda, if you guys have not subscribed to him, be sure to do so. He makes amazing videos as well. One of my partners for this as well. So when it comes down to global, if we click his video right here, they actually do have, oh God, ads. Gotta love those. They actually do have a hiring system for this. They have a hiring thing for this. And Tycon and him were also talking about this, that Midori actually said something about global as well. Now, it does not mean that global will be happening anytime soon, but it still does mean that global does exist. So if we go ahead and take a look, should be at 1 minute and 22 seconds. If you guys want to check out his video himself, this is a hiring or a recruitment position here. This is them actually trying to recruit for dubbed translation devs to actually get this game in the right track. Now, this does not mean it's going to be happening anytime soon. Don't get your hopes up. I'm crashing all that right now. But with this being in mind, hey, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you guys. This game is most likely going to go global, and it's probably going to do really, really well. We can easily see how many people are very interested into the global side of things. And I do believe that a lot of people who want to play this game are only just waiting just because they have no other choice. They're waiting for global. If anything, heck, the last thing they can get as a crumb is they're waiting for a JP release because it's easier to translate. So I don't understand why people are getting the idea why they think that global just will not do well. So I'm debunking that whole hiring status as well. Lastly, making this video very quick, or at least trying to make it quick. Atlus. Atlus themselves is Atlus. They remake a lot of their games. They don't mind squeezing that extra cash. What makes you think that they're going to just let global do terribly when in the past they really haven't let any of their games try and do terribly? They do what they can to get it out, and people buy them, and it's like literally attracting fish with some bait. So I highly doubt this game's going to do horrible on global. I hate hearing this. It makes me rant. It makes me rant a lot. For those people who don't like this video, eat it. I don't care. Like, yesterday I had to take a freaking break, and I just came to the freaking mental standpoint to, you're not going to appease everybody. It is what it is. For those who really just don't like that, say it in the chats. The more haters, the freaking better, because at the end of the day, you're helping out my channel. So cool. Thank you. But without further ado, you guys, for those who actually are here for me, cool. Love you guys. Peace out.